Recording in progress. We're good to go. Hi everyone. Welcome to the first meeting of 2022 for SIG Contributor Experience. I'm your host, Alison Downey. I'm co-chair along with Bob here. And yeah, just some housekeeping before we begin. So we abide by the code of conduct here, the Kubernetes code of conduct. In short, what that means is be excellent to each other. And is there anybody new on the line, or should we just do like a round of intros? Or I'm not sure. Bob, what do you think?
Shrug.
Sure. I'm thinking of that one skit in Monty Python where it's like, get on with it. Yeah, get on with it. So let's just skip the intros for today. But I wanted to kind of start off this first meeting of the year with just kind of like uh, pitch, a speech. I don't know, a very brief one. I don't want to ramble on for a really long here. I have a tendency to do that sometimes. But I want to say we're here. We're now here. It's 2022. We can look. I wanted to take the time for us to like look back at 2021 briefly. Like I think 2021 was very challenging. Lots of things happened, but we still managed to pull it off. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone here on the team, everyone who's coming in and helping out and like getting involved and wanting to get involved. It really means a lot to me, and it means a lot. Yeah. So, we did the steering election. We pulled off contributor celebration. We did a small thing at the KubeCon in North America. We you know, we got through and we still managed to achieve things in such a challenging year. And that's amazing. And what my hopes are for this year, for 2022, is that we can kind of keep that momentum. I I want it to be like, just better than last year. So, and I see this first kind of quarter here that we've got, there's many opportunities for us to kind of get the ball rolling and, get back to, contributor summit. And that's kind of one of the things we're going to be touching on in this meeting today, which is, I don't know if it's too early to start thinking about Valencia.
It's
Or if
not.
it's the right time. It's not? Okay, that's
It's
great.
not.
We're on the great
Never
we're on
too
a great
early.
track here.
It's
It's
never
never
too
too
early to
early.
start. I mean, we don't know
Uh,
certain things yet, but let's get
yeah.
on our way here.
But yeah, I'm like, KubeCon Valencia. I really hope to see more of y'all in the flesh, in person, and yeah, just have a great event. So I think, this is the right time to start planning these things, and start thinking about, how that could look. And with that out of the way, let's get right into the meeting. So events, office hours. Does anyone have an update on that? All I know is it's still going strong. But
it hasn't actually gone on for several months, but there is talk of basically just no longer doing it as a Kubernetes event and making it a part of the CNCF TV thing. I'm totally brain farting on the name of it.
Cloud native TV.
Yes, thank you.
yeah,
that's sort of like the current status of that one.
Yeah, I think moving at cloud native TV would probably be a really good spot for it. I think there's going to be some ramping up of that in the coming weeks, hopefully. I and yeah, we can see what things we can shift over to there. I think that's one of the things, the only thing I think at the moment that we're going to probably shift over there. And that'll help kind of take one thing off our plate here, so we can focus more on like contributors. So yeah, next, any other comments? Alrighty, let's get to the next item. So Laura's left her notes here, so she can't make it in person. The update is that the KDev migration is done. We can start the meeting back up again. There's a question here. Would it be better to let people get settled for January into the new mailing list before sending out a meeting invite? So plan for February to start back up. Thoughts welcome. So I want to have a little discussion about that. What is everyone's thoughts here?
Yes.
I was kind of going to say the same thing. Yes. What is the new mailing list, just in case people don't know what it is off the top of their head?
We migrated from the public Google groups, so Kubernetes Dev at googlegroups.com to a Kubernetes.io managed one. So it is now dev at Kubernetes.io. This was done for many reasons, but one of them was it was large enough that we could no longer send calendar invites to the public mailing list, whereas we can now do that to the one that we own and manage.
Global. Any other comments here, folks? Alrighty. Next we have contributor summits. I think we already answered this question before, which is planning for Valencia. It's never too early to start planning and thinking about this stuff, because I don't know, out of all the contributor summits that I've experienced to be at, yeah, it takes quite a lot of time and people and coordination to organize these, and giving people enough time to think about, oh, this is what I want to present, and this is I think I'm going to be there or not be there. Giving enough people time to make that decision is probably the best course of action. Yeah. So yeah, I think probably an action item on here would be to start some sort of doc, or I don't want to go into trying to schedule another meeting on the first week of January. That might not be a great idea, but just to start a doc, actually PR into the repo, like PR into the repo, new folder. Yeah. For Contributor Summit 2022 EU.
Hello, testing. Can you hear this?
Hi, Josh.
Yeah, hey, Josh.
Aha, okay, sorry. I left my headset unplugged for like the entirety of vacation, so it's not working right now. So I guess I have to ask the obvious question, which is, do we actually want to plan any kind of a formal scheduled contributor summit, given that this KubeCon is going to be just as up in the air as the last two KubeCons have been?
I think if we're this far out, we can actually potentially plan out some kind of, like, we could have a potential redundancy plan for like doing like virtual kind of version of the talk if you still want to like if we do the usual tracks, right, where we've got the the talks, CFB and all that, we can, like, if it ends up all up in the air, we can ask people, do you still want somewhere where you can present? And then maybe we could do something virtual. I think we're this far kind of into the future and thinking about it now that it will have enough time to plan for that as like a contingency.
So one note on this is that we had to put the room reservation in before the end of last year, and we literally reserved pretty much the same type of space we did for NA. because we were banking on it not being, similar at best in terms of attendance. So we only have one room with rounds and one smaller room with as a meeting room. And SIG docs will also have a room. So the sort of the assumption going in was like it would sort of be a repeat. Well, people can do, like, people could submit stuff, but like they're and we haven't submitted like any AV requests yet, but it's going to be rounds. It's going to essentially just be like, one room for hanging out and doing stuff.
So I think if we do like the one room thing, my thoughts there, my gut feeling is we kind of have a very loose schedule with like plenty of breaks and stuff, and just we have some presentations maybe if people want to do that, and then enough space for us to just kind of catch up. Because that's the one thing, the vibe at North America, I remember feeling was, we hadn't seen each other in a while. And I think at this EU KubeCon, it's going to be quite similar. We're going to have EU contributors turn up, and we want to give them a space where they can catch up with their fellow contributors, without it being too intense. Because especially if EU is their first KubeCon in forever, it can be quite like an intense experience because you're not used to being around so many folks. So yeah. Any other thoughts on that?
Were we going to do anything virtual?
No.
That's my only concern. Okay, cool.
One thing that sort of touches onto the next thing, the contributor celebration, like this year, did not go well. We had very minimal attendance. There was all sorts of problems, and I think blanket are not going to do virtual again. It's just not worth the investment. Awards, definitely. Those will be something that we should 100% continue to do. They should be preferably at an in-person event. But if not, then we just basically record, stream, and announce the awards.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one thing with the celebration. I wasn't very involved with that, and I'm really sorry to hear that like it didn't go so well, but I'm very kind of grateful for like you putting in the effort, Bob, and like all the team putting in the effort to try and make it happen. I think there are some things that I think would be valuable to take from the like celebration in terms like the awards definitely, but some of the like scheduled programming and stuff that we had at the other contributor celebration that we did, for instance, the what's the bake off and all that. It would be cool to have some sort of variety like show, like like one or two kind of things that we've put together where it's like, us as contributors having fun together on a stream. Like I think there is a lot of value in that because, you get to see everyone out of a meeting in a different light, like making a cake or
we couldn't get enough people to do it.
Yeah. The time of year was
there was
bad.
Like I think only 2 people volunteered for the bake off.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So, and especially because like we started planning for contributor celebration, I think we did it after KubeCon and all that, and I wasn't really that around. And what's it? I think if we can kind of get in place like a roadmap for this year of this is all the stuff we want to do, and then put that into the repo. I think that's something that I can take on. So I can be like, this is when we should really start like planning and thinking about this and starting to talk about it, and then get that in like a visual form where we can go and check back on every Zoom meeting like this. That'll probably help us a lot with the trying to keep an eye on when we need to start preparing for things, because I think one thing I felt about last year is that it was like, oh, wait, when's this? We need a plan for it. We need a plan for it. And yeah, so getting a high level like view of when we need to start doing things and stop. Yeah, that's another thought. I've gone on a little tangent here. Yeah. So any other thoughts, folks? All right, I'm gonna jump down to mentoring. Meet our contributors. Hi, Paris.
You're muted.
You're muted. I'm like, nice.
She's not muted in Zoom.
Is,
No, still can't hear you.
if you click the little arrow thing by your microphone, you can select. Oh, there we go.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I hear you now.
All
Loud and
right.
clear.
Now that we have a dev list, we can kick back, meet our contributors. But going back to like the roadmap stuff, I personally think meet our contributors is very low priority compared to other things that we have on our plates right now and who's active in this group and doing work. I think it's much more of a priority for us to do the community meeting than it is for us to do meet our contributors, because I feel like right now in the project state, we don't need new contributors. We need maintainers, which is a whole different conversation. And like retaining the maintainers that we have. So I feel like the community meeting would get us to some of those goals and objectives. So I still would like to put meet our contributors on a semi hold until we bootstrap the community meeting back up.
What does a community meeting need? Sorry for my ignorance.
We need structure. We need content. We need regularity. We need topics that matter because there's tons of them. We need people to drive them. We need a program manager to do that probably.
Yeah.
And I'm very willing to help. I think there's other people that have said that they would help with it. So I think we just need to do a little tiger team. Hey, Bob, I saw your hand too. I think we just need to do a little tiger team and get it done. Hey.
I actually think Laura's structure and like idea would work well. The big problem was we since we didn't have any meeting notifications or anything like that, we weren't getting people to show up. Like talking about some of the bigger cross-cutting KEPs and some of the other sort of inter-SIG important things is definitely worthwhile, and something that's important to like to our maintainers. It's hard to get people to show up if you can't send them a calendar invite.
Yeah. Well, yeah, now we are officially done with that roadblock. So we never have to hear that excuse ever again. So
everyone need the jazz hands for like for
yay invites.
Oh, okay. Is there any other comments, Phil?
I'm happy to help with trying to get whatever. I think the hard part is going to be getting the right people in the room every month or however often.
Yeah, and that's why I think like a programmatic structure needs to be in place. so that it's not like all on like Josh. Josh is like kind of like, I see Josh like shaking, like, Josh knows. I feel like it's just so hard on like that one individual to curate like every month without it being like a programmatic thing,
It's a job. Yeah.
It exactly. And like, that's why it's like, that's too much of a burden on one person. Like, so that's why I'm like, when we bootstrap this, we should bootstrap it from like a sustainability perspective and not like think about it as like a one-off event every month.
Right.
So I mean, like, because before when we had like the SIG updates, it was very structured. But now that SIGs do also updates at KubeCon, we had to kind of give and take like the burden on them. So anyway.
Yeah, and also I think another thought I'd like to add is not just one person, not a proof of concept. I totally agree with you on a lot of these on these notes, Paris. We really need to be thinking about the structure and how do we like make something that's going to last. Like I think, yeah, and then another thought on the same line, like as we've got meet our contributors and the community meeting and all that, I think if we do less, that is more. I feel like that's a kind of that's a big vibe that I'm feeling here.
Quality versus quantity. Yeah.
Quality over quantity. And then that's another thing as well. We could probably shift to cloud native TV potentially. There could be a whole thing which is meet the contributors behind the projects that you're using in the cloud native space. Like that's another little tangent I went on there. Tangent. Something to investigate, and I'll look into that one. Yeah. So any other comments, folks? All right. Now next we have Playground GSOC Outreachy LFX mentorship program. I do not see Ihor on the line, but does anyone have any updates on this?
I don't. We didn't do a lot in December because of all of the other events. So the GSOC is not open for applications yet. Will be soon though. And then I'm not sure what's going on with the LFX cycle.
One quick thing. I think if I recall, our last conversation around some of the like outreach, LFX, all of that was with a conversation with Ihor about instead of having to like resubmit or create proposals for all of them, just like let the SIGs let people create proposals, and it's essentially just like resubmit or slightly massage to go for the next one, the next scheduled thing.
Yeah.
Do you remember
yeah. You go.
Sorry. I don't remember where that was going to live, but I remember like there's a conversation around that.
Oh,
that might be
right. We have a directory under community. It's really weighted on round to its to actually wrestle the various SIG leads in order to get some stuff filled in on it.
Cool. Any other comments, questions, queries, folks? New contributor workshop, and Bob's filled us in here.
We have some tech writers. They'll be starting soon, both on updating the contributor guide basically redoing it from scratch and giving it one deduping, giving it one style, one voice, so that way it's not like piecemeal from like 50 different authors, and that will feed directly into the workshop that's going to be developed.
Awesome. I think that's not really. I think that's all sorted as well. Like, I'm very, very glad that. Thank you very much, Bob, actually, for taking the time to get the tech writers onto that. Really appreciate that, because it's the one project that has been it's burning on the back of my head. Like, I'm like, oh no. But I hope to see like that very soon in the future. It's gonna be awesome. Next we have community management. Need to know chairs, tech leads emails. I'm a little behind on things, so Bob, if you have things here, and any other chairs and tech leads, if you have things you'd like to share to every chair and tech lead.
No, and I don't think we do that anymore, really.
Yeah, we kind of just started just sending individual items to the leads list.
Yeah. Yeah. So we should probably just not do that anymore.
Should we just remove this from like the template?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The moral of the story here, though, is that the chairs and the leads do need other forms of communication, and they need things bubbled up to them, especially from this group, because this group, they are a large part of what this group services. So at one point in time, from like a historical perspective, a lot of the chairs felt like we were giving them a lot of info at like all of the time, because we were in a very hyper growth mode. So it was a lot of changes at a lot of the time. So we essentially tried to aggregate it and bubble it up to them at certain cadences, so it wasn't so much all of the time like a fire hose. So, but now that we also have the monthly meeting and things like that, where we can like disperse information and they have a leads list and stuff like that, we probably just don't need it anymore. So I think that's my 2-second take.
And I would strong plus one that.
I feel so on board on that, especially with if you aggregate everything, it's also like a lot of stuff to take in all at once. So just sending things periodically out to the list, I'm like, yeah, as they come up. Sounds good. It's another thing we can update on the agenda template. 100. Yeah. Next up, we have dev stats.
Is this something that we should rid ourselves of as well?
Potentially, we can do. We're doing a little housekeeping as we go here of this like agenda template.
Yeah.
This might be a semi roadmap conversation, honestly. Yeah. Josh definitely came off on mute for this one.
I was going to say, I think this should come off of the regular template. I mean, periodically we'll have a dev stats item that someone will care about, but it certainly won't be on a monthly basis.
I'm deleting it as we speak from the meeting template.
There's the next one update is DIMS wrote a tool to get like all the owners files, so we'll be able to like update. It'll still require some massaging, but we'll be able to update dev stats, so it will at least track stuff in shared repos better.
That's great. Yeah. Update on the template thing as well. I have removed it from the template. Can't have an action item if you get it done right in the meeting. Any other questions, comments, queries, concerns? Alrighty. So next we have marketing. Got Chris on the line.
Yeah, we've got a couple Meet Our Contributors blogs in flight. They're linked to your div. You can talk more about those. I don't think there's, other than Twitter automation is still broken, and I still need to look at it. There's not much.
Yeah, the Twitter automation part. I just we have to revert that main to master or something. About that. And
I
this
tried
blog
to
post.
do the thing. I tried the automation on my side, and the thing was that the default branch is still named as master. When I tried in my repo, I renamed my branch to main, and the automation worked on my side. So I guess that would be the issue. I've mentioned in the contributor tweets issue thing. So yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and about Meta contributors blog series for APAC region, yes, we have put the pull request in the both KDEV's site and the website. So it just needs to be reviewed and must. That's the update. Like it's over, like, since 4-5 months for the first draft. So we have a draft.
I'll just ask the question I typed in chat. Do we need a GitHub admin for changing master domain? Or is that something I can just push and we PRN? I forget.
No, you don't need a GitHub admin. There's a doc that covers everything in gates.dev/rename.
Got it.
The only thing would be is if you had some other scripts or other stuff that might have to be coordinated with it.
I think it's all self-contained in the repo. But yeah, thanks. I'm glad we have that doc too. Beautiful.
Cool. I'm gonna go. Any other questions or comments, or no? Okay. Contributor documentation. Any updates on that, Bob? Or
Oh, sorry. Nothing outside the thing I mentioned earlier, the tech writers starting on the contributor guide and all that soon.
okay. And then developer guide. I don't see Eric or Joel on the line, or is this another item that we need to?
I would probably just lump it under, like, keep them together. Contributor guide, developer guide, at least for right now. Eric and Joel are some of the tech writers. There's a new tech writer that will also be joining us. And they're going to tackle the contributor guide, the contributor workshop, and then some other things in the developer guide.
And anything we need to think about for the contributor site? Any updates on the contributor site? Oh.
There was something, but it has completely slipped my mind. Go back in the notes. Oh,
Right.
SEO. Oh. Our attempt at improving the positioning of Kubernetes.dev on Google search results. I think we've done as much as we can without any data to say that is it good or bad what we've done. So let's kind of just wait and see. Or
oh, I did a brief search for Kubernetes contributors on Google just before, and Kubernetes.dev comes as the first result there. I don't know if that's my search engine being biased, but maybe I need to open that in a private window. But I'm not going to derail any further. Need to do some Googling. On that note, GitHub management's the next one. Do we have any updates on that, Bob?
The biggest one is EasyCLA. We punted doing anything with it because there's some outstanding issues in December. There is a sort of hard cutoff to finally flip over mid-February. So it's need to check back with them and see if those other issues have been resolved. If not, push on them to get them resolved, and then just do the final cutover. I think at this point, like most of the things have been taken care of. There was just like, I think 2 remaining issues reported on the tracking issue.
Cool. Slack Infra. Do we have any updates for Slack Infra?
This is probably another one that could just be like scratched from the agenda, and stuff just comes up when we have issues with Slack.
That sounds great. And you know, when you said we could remove this from the agenda, I just went and did that. Because I think it's one of those items we always go through like in the meeting and we're like, Slack Infra, any updates? No. So
Yeah, there's not usually anything for discussion on this.
And now we've got to the open mic discussion. So we've got Xander here, and James.
Hello. My name is James Laverack. My pronouns are he, him. I'm the release lead for Kubernetes 124. And I'm also joined by Xander, who's release lead shadow for 124. We're going around all the SIGs and just checking in ahead of the start of 124 next week. And just wanted to make ourselves available to answer any questions and see what people's plans are for the upcoming release and things like this. I'm aware that Contribex typically does not submit KEBs to the release, but still just wanted to come in and say hello and answer any questions and make everyone aware. Hi.
Even if there's no KEBs, we still love y'all. So
yeah, of course, be with you.
Well, thank you for stopping by. It's great to see y'all dropping by and especially engaging with all the different SIGs. Like, yeah.
Is there anything we can do to help you?
Ooh,
that's
a question.
That's the question.
Sorry, someone was saying something.
Oh, like all the fun Docker shim stuff.
Yeah. Yes, we're aware of Docker shim. That's been very, very big part of the discussion. The only thing I can think of really is, unfortunately, Joseph isn't on this call, but Joseph, our EA, is going to be sending out the email to all of the shadow applicants who unfortunately were not selected tomorrow. And of course, a big part of that is typically, if you still want to be involved, there's things you can do. I haven't seen Joseph's draft for that email. They're usually pretty similar from what I understand anyway. But I guess if there's anything you wanted to highlight as, for people who didn't get selected, if they still want to be involved in the project as a whole, is there anywhere you wanted us to shove them? Or I say shove them, kind of direct them.
I think from my end, if you have been involved in the release process in any capacity, if you've done KEPs either for this SIG or others, just continue to be transparent with us about where things can be improved, because I know that like the group of folks that are working on the release right now, like we know that there are areas that can be better, and we do really care about the contributor experience for release. So if there's places, like we know the spreadsheet is a pain, but like continue to like voice your pain points and your thoughts. And that's the one thing I can think of that is helpful.
I think I just had like a random idea pop in my head. So when it comes to, folks not getting selected for like the release, maybe that would be an interesting blog post for marketing, like, contributor kind of like advice. What can I do if like, I'm re rejected from being a shadow, like if my shadow application is rejected, and that kind of be an interesting like story to kind of share with the wider community.
I guess, how is that different from where can I get started contributing?
The getting started story is a little bit different than actually being on the release team, though, right? Like, it's a lot of work being on the release team for any section of it. It's not just getting started.
Yeah. I'm just saying the answer to that is, here are these other teams who are looking for, starting contributors, whether starting means starting to Kubernetes in general or starting for their team. The reason the release team gets so many applicants is because it's has a structured process for new contributors. But the answer really is, okay, well, here's release engineering, and here is the Contribex marketing team, and here is whoever else is there, and we would need to find out who is there in terms of saying, here are other teams that are interested in people who want to participate. Because it's not, the thing is, for the release team, we're going to have 5 people applying to be a shadow for everyone who's accepted at this point. People are not, particularly what I wouldn't want to see is anything around, okay, here's how you can improve your resume so you get accepted next time, because it's not how it works. And actually, I don't know if you follow the discussions about selecting shadows for the release team, but the idea is that they're going to be using less shadows in the future. So people need to find other places to contribute.
It's like we need pointing them at help wanted is kind of broad.
Yeah. We tried that before, but it's going to require a lot of sort of active searching people out, because when we tried having a help wanted section on the website before, what we didn't get was any help wanted ads. So really it's going to be a matter of finding where do we have, like, particularly if you're looking at people who are looking to join the release team, right? They're looking for that structure. And so what we want to do is say, okay, where else do we have a team that works on something? And team could include SIGs, that is sort of ready to receive new contributors, that if a new contributor wants to join, they have something to tell them to do.
I think as well, now that like we're kind of ramping up again, I think maybe there is some Contribex effort where we are going from kind of SIG to SIG and kind of asking them, how can we enable you to kind of recruit more people? Like, what do you need? Kind of that's I think something that might need to happen. I don't know. Rather than saying, here's some new people.
Yeah, I almost wonder if that's like we talked about. Oh crap, I lost my train of thought. But we talked about, the community meeting needs a program, right? Like that could easily fold into part of that, I feel like, is getting some of those inputs. Because I feel like that program team for the community meeting is going to have to reach out to SIGs on a regular basis as it is.
I guess for the SIG part, we did a thing in the beginning of the year, like with Paris and all. We have a help wanted section, the annual survey, where the SIGs come up and say, these are the work we need help with. And some of the work isn't getting done also. We did post regular tweets about it, and we didn't receive any of the, like, there weren't many people who were interested. So we can roll out that part. I already have the documentation. So if you needed to send it to the people who are not selected in this SADO release SADO, so it might help them, because it has almost all the SIGs and the sections in which they need help. And each annual survey we receive a lot of pointers from each of the SIGs. So yeah, I think we could use that part to get people.
I think that's a good starting point. I know with SIG Docs, we're starting a new contributor ambassador person, and that this person will have more formalized meetings. They might be monthly to ramp up folks who are interested in contributing to SIG Docs. I don't know if other SIGs are doing this as well. I agree that this might be a good blog post on what happens and how to contribute to the project, or like how else can I contribute, or are there any other formalized paths into becoming a contributor.
So I just another gut feeling is so I mentioned a roadmap, like something where we have it in the GitHub for contributor experience. And I think a lot of these kind of efforts around, improving the contributor experience for like the SIGs and just kind of checking in, doing all that. I feel a huge chunk of this stuff will fall under kind of roadmap planning. And I don't want to overplan, because it's very easy to be like, yes, we're going to make this really detailed plan, and it's very overwhelming and difficult to implement. I've definitely done that before. Guilty as charged. But I would like to carve out some time this week or next week to sit down with folks and kind of go for a roadmap. And I would like to have a draft of that roadmap before I kind of make people turn up at a meeting, because it would suck to turn up at a meeting and stuff doesn't exist. Yeah. I don't know how folks feel about this. Thoughts, feelings? Bob, what do you think?
And as far as like road mapping, it's great to at least get some priorities out. One of the things we haven't done is actually update all the milestones. Like we haven't walked through all the current like open issues and things like that, and re-milestone things. They tend to very much be aspirational goals, because Contribx has been a thing where we get a lot of people that start projects and then move on to like other parts of the project and never finish the thing that was started. And we are the gateway for other SIGs for a lot of stuff. So it's just kind of like something we need to think about and get more commitments for when thinking about when like milestoning and road mapping.
I'm going to set an aspirational goal here for 2 weeks, like end. This is very aspirational. I should push it up by an extra week, but that would be too long. Would already be for most of the month. But end of next week, by end of next week, it would be nice to have gotten started on that, like a decent chunk of that tidy up done, so that the next time we meet, which should not be next, I don't know if we're going back to weekly Zooms or just continuing with our bi-weekly cadence, because I'm fine with that. The bi-weekly cadence is nice. But that'll give next time we have a Zoom call meeting like this, we can kind of show what the new kind of roadmap looks like, the milestones and how that all looks tidied up. So yeah, by the next Zoom face-to-face meeting, yeah, get that tidy up underway for contributor experience. Yeah. Thoughts? Does that sound good? I'm just endorsing myself here, right?
Approved.
Alrighty. Is there anything else folks would like to share on the line? We've reached the end of open mic.
I just want to make one suggestion for the 124 release team that's here, that with the efforts with Docker Shim and also part of we've also formalized a deprecations and removals blog to go out after code freeze, to get in touch with the marketing folks to look to get some tweets out or get a tweet out when those blogs are published.
Sort of on that note, it'd be whoever's on the release comms. There is a weekly Contribex marketing meeting. I know it's some people have dropped by that in the past if they've, like, those that have been sort of involved in both areas have known to drop in, but it'd be great to at least have that written down somewhere, or like as a little note for people, like, hey, there's this entire group over here that specializes in comms, this sort of thing. Potentially go to their meetings or reach out to them when doing this.
I'll ping Mickey, who's our comms lead for 124. See if they're interested.
I'm going to add that to the comms handbook since there's a PR flight already.
And you can ping up, put the Slack handle, contributor comms, in there as well, please.
Oh, is that Slack group?
Yeah, like you can ping us from any channel and just be like, hey, can we get a tweet? Or hey,
is that upstream marketing?
Yes.
15 members. Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, I think we're getting close to the end here. So I just kind of wanted to end on this. Is there anything else anyone else wants to share? Is there any burning topics?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you everyone for coming along. It was really great to see all of your faces. And yeah, see you at the next Contribex meeting. Thank you all. Bye.
Later.